Navigate the waters of self-help. I'm going to help you out here in this video. How's it going, Reinventers? This is Reinventing You, and I'm Amelia. A reinventor is somebody who's made a change in their life, usually in midlife and usually major, but it could be in any area, including job or relationships or health. And the purpose in reinventing yourself is to live a life of joy, fulfillment, and purpose. And this channel is to inspire you to take that step to reinvent yourself and inspire you on your reinventing journey. I try to post twice a week. I missed a little bit last week, not for any major reasons, sort of a bit of crisis, anxiety, plus things going on in life in general, and we're in the middle of a pandemic, so I can always use that as an excuse. I want to talk today about the self-help industry, especially self-help gurus. You find a lot of these on YouTube. I'm probably considered one of them, although I don't really consider myself a guru. But there are some dangers. Originally, I was going to do a video on who I recommend if you're reinventing yourself, what other YouTubers or creators that I recommend to follow. But I realize there's so many people out there. I could spend a lot of time. So I really kind of wanted to focus on what to avoid, so give you the ability to make some judgment calls on your own. So let's start first with the internet. And I looked up, self-help and self-help gurus, and I realized there are a lot of people who have a lot of red flags about them. Some of them you have probably heard, you have probably seen their videos on YouTube, but the more you investigate and listen to some other people talk about them, the more you're like, oh my gosh, people who really have no business telling you what to do with your business. And so it's kind of frightening that so many people have such a following on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook when they probably have no business. Because really, in reality, the more I read about it, a true self-help person is going to be working themselves out of a job, because the meaning of self-help is to self-help. One of the reasons this video or this channel is about, because I want to inspire you to take those steps to reinvent yourself. I want to inspire you to help yourself, not to hold your hand the whole time, but to cheer you on as you cross the finish line. One of the first articles that I read was by Steve Scott on Internet Lifestyle Without the BS, and he had a quote that I just loved, and what he said was this: what works for them probably won't work for you. In other words, what works for the self-help guru, what works for some of the other followers, is not going to probably work for you. Everybody's journey, everybody's life is different. And so when I give advice or when I give suggestions, you have to take those with your own, thoughts and your own actions and your own judgment. One of the things that I liked with one of the YouTubers I was following recently was, she said, okay, here are my health issues and here's what I did. And one of the things, she has IBS. And she said, not everybody has this. This is how I have learned how to solve my problems. She said, I watched all these people. These are the people I recommend. But what I'm doing may not be for you. So that, I think, is what Steve is trying to say. But I found it very interesting is, even when looking at people who are critiquing the self-help industry, they're sort of doing what they recommend not to do. One of them was Mark Manson. He wrote an article, 5 Problems with the Self-Help Industry, which, I recommend you read. And he has a blog that's life advice that doesn't suck. But at the very end of his article, he says, make sure you check out my 24-page ebook on happiness. You don't know what makes you happy. And he just talked about the gurus, the self-help industry, people who make you go and spend more money or do something else, when really, that's something that you should find within. It's also like, okay, even when we're critiquing the self-help industry, we're trying to do exactly what the rest of them that we say don't follow them are doing. So that another article that I found was by Jason Whelan, and it's in the Better Marketing of all things, but his article is titled, "You Don't Need the Self-Help Gurus. You Already Have All the Information You Need." And his quote that I really liked, he said, "The danger comes when the charlatans try to present themselves as professionals." I have said this before, when you're looking for a coach or a counselor, you make sure that person is accredited. A lot of people have said, well, Amelia, you could call yourself a coach, and I could. I mean, I have experience counseling. I have experience in helping people because I was pastor for 20 years. I'm still an ordained minister. I'm doing this channel. I've done it for two and a half years, I think. So, I could say, oh, well, I could call myself a coach, but I do not have the credentials. I have not had the training. So I really hesitate to do that. And that's a lot of times what you'll find with some people in the self-help industry. They claim some of the things that they have. I'm a counselor, I'm a coach, I'm a, well, you're a creator on YouTube, but I don't know about the rest of it. So you have to be really careful with that. Also, in Jason's article, he gives a secret formula for self-help gurus, which I think is very helpful. But one thing that he really emphasizes in his article is that you and I both need to trust ourselves. And he has 4 things that we need to do, which I have said on this channel. So I want to repeat what he has to say. If you're going to trust yourself, you need to, 1, decide to change. You need to decide to reinvent yourself. 2, you need to make a simple plan. If you're reinventing yourself, you should set a goal and figure out some simple steps to reach that goal. Number 3, take immediate action, do the work. How many times have I said reinventing yourself is a process? Reinventing yourself is a journey. Reinventing yourself means doing the work. And the 4th thing he says, when you trust yourself, you should improve yourself each day. And I think that's very true. I talk about small action steps. I talk about taking those little steps forward. It doesn't have to be huge to reach your goal. So I highly recommend his article. But a lot of times, if you're watching this channel on YouTube, you're going to be looking for self-help gurus on YouTube. So I had to go back and say, okay, who am I watching that critiques self-help gurus? And there have been a lot of major things that have happened. For instance, the Rachel and Dave Hollis divorce, and here they have been doing this marriage enrichment podcast, all of these events and things, and giving this advice, and apparently they've been having marital problems this whole time. It's like, oh, wait a minute, that's a huge red flag. But there are others. That's not the end of the list. And maybe you are big Hollis fans, and I'm not trying to put them down. I'm just saying, take some time to really look at the people that you're following. And I recommend start with these 4 people to really look and see, oh, I admire Tony Robbins or Jay Shetty or this person or that person. And I'm just throwing those names out because these folks have done sort of reports or, what do you call them? Critiques? Anyway, videos. The first one is Sunny Lenarduzzi. She's one of my favorite people, and she's just started doing something new on her channel. Here in the middle of the screen, you see how to be 100% yourself. She's been talking lately about being authentic and what that means, especially on social media, telling your story, being your own hero. She's just done some really good things. So I like her just because she's true to herself, and she wants you to be as well. The next person is D'Angelo Wallace, and he does the expose of all kinds of self-help gurus. I'm sorry, the screen kind of cut off the one he did on Tony Robbins, but he's done some others. Some of the people that you've seen on YouTube or seen in other places, and he really gets into what happened, why they did it, and what's really going on kind of behind the scenes.
So the next person that I've really enjoyed watching her videos, Camila, she does things on different people. She reviews films, but a couple of people that she has talked about lately are, of course, the Rachel and Dave Hollis scam. But here you also see she did an expose on Joe Dispenza and Marissa Peer, and these are people that I had seen on, YouTube and hadn't realized that they are doing a lot of scamming. So I was very kind of, I don't know, it made me really open my eyes to a lot of what's going on. And then T1J also does the same kind of thing and looks into self-help. And this video in particular was about self-help being a scam. So I have links to all four of these and particular videos in the descriptions below. So I hope you check those out. I think that they will be helpful for you.
One of the things that T1J says is self-help a scam? And it can be. And so what he says is what self-help people have given you is suggestions. This is not the secret of the universe. It goes back to trust yourself. He also says don't become addicted, which is true. Sometimes we just tend to watch a lot of self-help videos rather than actually helping ourselves. And what happens is, especially if you're watching this channel now, in fact, if you've never watched this before and you came up on your YouTube feed, I do invite you to subscribe. But if you're watching this, then you're probably going to get several others that are self-help related kind of videos. That's what YouTube does. It is an algorithm. It's going to bring up the same things, and sometimes we find ourselves just watching one after another. That's sort of an addiction. We have to realize if you're a true self-help person, that you are putting yourself out of a job, that you want the person to self-help themselves. You want the person to help themselves. So the work you're doing is putting you out of your job. Sometimes a self-help guru will tend to create a feeling that you're inadequate, that what you're doing is not good enough, that you're not putting forth enough effort, that you've got to have a better morning routine. You need to get up earlier. You need to stay up later or go to bed earlier. You need to this, you need that. You're never adequate enough. There's always the next thing. So those are just some red flags. And by the way, the self-help industry is now the personal development industry. And I feel like this channel is about personal development, but I also want you to do your own work. And that does mean to watch the folks that I just mentioned on this videos. In fact, if there are other people that you know who do critiques of self-help or personal development people, if you'll put their names or links below in the comments, that will help all of us out. If this is your first time watching, again, I invite you to subscribe. Whoever you are, if you've not clicked on the notification bell, please do so. That way you'll be alerted when I post new videos. Don't forget to check out these videos that I've done on similar subjects and give me a thumbs up. Have a great one.